Today, let us go through the last unit of the lesson Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish by Steve Jobs. Before we go through in detail, let us begin our class with Brahmana. शांति 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 स्वस्थ. Before we go through in detail the last unit of the lesson, let us recall what we discussed in our previous class. In our previous class, we discussed that Steve Jobs started a company known as the Apple Company or the Apple Inc. at the age of 17 in his foster parents' garage with his schoolmate Steve Wozniak. Both Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak worked hard and made it a huge company, a company of $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. See, initially the company started only with 2 persons, but within a short span of 10 years, they could transform it into a huge company, that is a company of $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. See what hard work can do. Yes, your hard work will also bring miracles to you. So we should not be hesitant to do hard labor in our lives. Here. See, when he was at the age of 29, the company released its finest creation, that was Macintosh. A year later, when he was at the age of 30, he was fired. He was dismissed from the company. He became fed up. He was very much disappointed. He never thought of that he would be shown the way out of the company. Now the question arises, why was he driven out of the company? As the company grew, they gave appointment many talented people. Steve Jobs had chosen an employee whom he thought was very talented and would assist him to the prosper of the company. But there was a difference between Steve Jobs and the newly appointed employee or hired employee. They had a fallout. Fallout, you know, is a phrasal verb which means quarrel. They quarreled as their visions differed. As they quarreled, the board of directors took the side of the hired employee instead of supporting Steve Jobs. This was the reason why he was dismissed from the Apple company. See, after the release of the first Macintosh, he became the public figure. People all over America came to know about Steve Jobs. But after his dismissal, People came to know that he was dismissed from the company. So it was a failure. It was a public failure also for him. So he was frustrated and decided to leave the place and go to some other place where people could not identify him. But he did not so. He did not go to other place. He remained. Why did he remain? Because gradually something occurred to him. And what was that? He loved what he did in life. And that helped him a lot in his life. Then he began another company known as Next. Then another company known as Picture. See, if he had not driven out of the company, then he would never have entered into the most creative period of his life. So his dismissal from the company was a blessing in disguise for him. That was the reason. After his dismissal, he could enter into the most creative period of his life. As he entered the most creative period of his life, he began two other companies known as Next and Picture. Then Next was purchased. Next was bought by Apple. As Next was bought by Apple, Steve Jobs got the opportunity to go to his first company that was begun by him. And he loved the Apple Inc. He loved the Apple company. After the purchase of Next by Apple, he was able to go again to his own company, Apple. Then, during that period of his life, he fell in love with an amazing lady whose name was Lawrence. And both of them the best conjugal life. Now, let us go through the last unit of the lesson, Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish. And you know, his third story was about his death. What was his first story about? His first story was about his birth, upbringing and education. And what was his second story about? His second story was about his love and loss. And his third story was about his death. When I was 17, I read a quote. Here a quote means a quotation that went something like, if you live each day as if it was your last day, someday you will certainly be right. See, when Steve Jobs was at the age of 17, he came across a quotation. And what was that quotation? The quotation was, if you live each day as if it was your last day, someday you will most certainly be right. As you know, man is mortal. We all will die one day. We are ignorant of our death. We have forgotten about our death. We think we are going to live in this world forever. That is the reason why we are running all the time after money and power and other materialistic things. But if we try to change ourselves, it will be possible and we can change. And if there is a change in our life, then we will never run after money. And we will never lose our humanity. We will give up our pride, our jealousy, and all the vices that are in us. See, here at the age of 17, he came across a quotation, and what was that quotation? If you live each day as if it was your last day, someday you will most certainly be right. Yes, it will be someday certainly right. That what is that right? That is our death. So if we live each day as if it was our last day, then when death comes to us, we will not be scared of our death and we can face our death bravely. We will not be scared of our death. It made an impression on me. It refers to that quotation, made an impression on me, and since then, for the past 33 years, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, after coming through that quotation, every day after getting up, he stood in front of the mirror and asked a question to himself. And what was that question? If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? See, this is the thing that will change us all. After getting up every day morning, if we stand before the mirror and ask the question, if I die today, will I be able to complete the work that I have to do today? Then we may get affirmative answer or negative answer. If you are getting affirmative answer, then there is no problem. But if we get the negative answer, then we have to change ourselves. And for the last 33 years, what did he do? He asked the same question, standing himself before the mirror. If I die today, will I be able to complete the work which I have to do today? When he got the negative answer, he thought that he should change, and he changed himself. If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. And he knew he needed to change something. And what was that? He changed his life. And he got the answer. Yes, if I die today, what I have to do today, I will complete by hook or by crook. But I will not leave today's work for tomorrow. But I will complete today's work by today itself. Remembering that I will be dead soon, and the most important tool I have ever encountered to help me making the big choices in life. See, encounter means what? To come across. So remembering, if we remember that I will be dead soon, then we will not be scared of anything. As we think that we are going to live for a long time or forever, that is the reason why we get scared of ourselves to make big choices in our lives. We will not be scared of anything if we remember that we are going to die very soon. So he says here, remembering that I will be dead soon, I will be dead soon is the most important tool or instrument. Tool means what? Instrument I have ever come across or encountered to help me make big choices in life. We are scared to take big choices in our lives because we are ignorant of our death. And the moment we realize and remember that we are going to die very soon, then we will not be scared of anything and we will be able to choose big things in our lives. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Here we have written the meaning of the word embarrassment. Embarrassment means what? A mental discomfort or a state of discomfort. Because almost everything, all external expectations, we have our expectations, external expectations, we have our pride, we have our fear of embarrassment, we have our failure. Everything will fall before death. So because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death. So if we remember that we are going to die very soon, then this will be a tool to help us to make or to choose big things in our life, or to make big choices in our lives. Remembering that you are going to die in the best way, I know, to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. No, we are not going to lose anything. We are rather going to win or achieve something. You are all naked. See, when we took bath, we did not bring anything with us. We have come naked. And while leaving this world also, we will not take anything with us. The house, that marvelous house that we have built, the wife, the beautiful wife that we have married, and the children whom we have given birth will not go with us. Or the property that we have earned working hard throughout our life will also not be taken by us. We have come naked, and while living this world also, we will go naked. Then why will we run after money and power all the time? Why will we lose our humanity? Why will we not be helpful to others? Why will we not try to accumulate as much knowledge as we can in this short span of our life, which will be helpful for the people of the coming generation? So let us not run after money and power. Let us try to accumulate as much knowledge as we can in this short span of our life. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. So there is no reason not to follow your heart. And what does this statement mean? This statement means listen what your heart says to you. But don't listen what your mind says to you. Your mind will misguide you, but your heart will never misguide you. So he advises us that we should follow our heart. There is no reason not to follow your heart. It means obey what your heart says to you. Then he cites an example. About a year ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. He had gone to the commencement of Stanford University in 2005. A year before 2005, that means in 2004, he was diagnosed with cancer. I had a scan at 7:30 in the morning, and it clearly, after scanning, the report clearly showed that he had a tumor on his pancreas. See how good Steve Jobs was. He says here, I didn't even know what a pancreas was. See the heart of Steve Jobs. He says to the students of Stanford University, when I was said that I had a tumor on my pancreas, I didn't know even what a pancreas was, but I was told by the doctor that it was a cancer. It was a pancreatic cancer, but I didn't know what a pancreas was. The doctors told me this was almost certainly a type of cancer that is incurable, and that I should expect to live no longer than 3 to 6 months. He was also told by the doctor he should not expect to live more than 6 months. He could hardly expect to live 3 to 6 months. This was said by the doctor to Steve Jobs. My doctor advised me to go home. Then he said, why will you be hospitalized and spend the remaining days of your life here instead of joining in the hospital? Why don't you go home and stay with your family members? My doctor advised me to go home and get my affairs in order, and whatever affairs or business he had, he should say all this to his children and wife, which is doctor's code. Your code means sign or signal for prepare to die. See, they did not say, they were sure that this disease will take his life. He will die within 3 to 6 months. So they did not advise him to admit in the hospital. They said, better you go home and set your affairs ready. That was nothing but a code. Code means what? A signal or sign. And what was that sign? Prepare for your death. It means to try to tell you, kids, you know, children, everything you thought you would have the next 10 years. To tell them in just a few months. Because you are not going to live more than 6 months. You could hardly live 3 to 6 months, and in this 3 to 6 months, what you have to plan to do in next 10 years, you can tell them to your children in this short period. It means to make sure everything is bottomed up. Bottomed up means carefully planned and executed, so that it will be as easy as possible for your family. It means to say your adieu. It means to say your goodbye to your kids and your family members. It means to say your goodbye. I lived with that diagnosis already. He was sick. He could hardly expect to live 3 to 6 months. So, the quotation he had come across at the age of 17 helped him a lot when he was told indirectly by his doctor that he was going to die very soon. I lived with that diagnosis all day. Later, that evening, I had a biopsy. A biopsy means a pathological test. It is a sort of test known as pathological test. I had a biopsy where the stalk is the past tense of stick, an endoscope down my throat, through my stomach, and took out some cells from my tumor. Through my stomach and into my intestines, put a needle into my pancreas and got a few cells from the tumor. I was sedated. Sedated means senseless. When an endoscope was put through his throat into his intestines to take some cells from the tumor, that time he was completely senseless, sedated. But my wife, who was there, told me that when they viewed, here they means the doctors viewed, examined the cells under a microscope, their jaws knew no bound. They started crying. The doctors were overwhelmed with joy, and their joys knew no bounds. Because it turned out to be means proved After test, it turned out to be a very rare form of pancreatic cancer which is curable with surgery or operation. So he had the operation and the doctors removed the tumor from his pancreas and he was standing now. He says, now I'm standing before you and delivering my speech. I had the surgery and I am okay now. I am fine now. The remaining paragraphs of the last unit of the lesson we will go through in the next video. Thank you.